Really, I just wanted to talk a bit about our new service in Christ. We're a rehabilitative service for people with a mental health and a learning difficulty, and our whole remit is about rehabilitation. So we're a short stay service. At the moment we've got 7 beds in Christ, and we follow the humanistic Carl Rogers therapeutic based building relationships. So I started in elderly care when I was 15, serving tea, and then worked my way up to residential manager in an elderly care home, and then went off to China to work in China for 3 months, working with learning difficulties and mental health in their country. It was very, very different, very different. I kind of wanted that shock to then go into mental health myself, and then
residential.
So then I went to work in a mental health as a support worker. I thought, you know what, I need to start at the bottom again. So I went as a support worker. Within 3 months I was offered a deputy manager position, but it was in a big care home with 30 beds, and unfortunately no one cared. It was just filling the beds. It's just, let's fill the beds. As a deputy manager I constantly got, no, you're having this person. Well, they don't fit our needs, and they don't necessarily, we can't meet their needs, sorry, and they don't fit the home, but it's no, you're having them. So I was the deputy, and I used to work with the lady who's the registered manager at the service now where I work. She was the shift leader, and we just kept talking about it. We just kept saying, should we go and do it ourselves? We left our jobs, we got a loan for £10,000, and we set up our own care home.
Woo!
And now we're in our 3rd year. Well, no, we opened up 2 days before the lockdown.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so we went into a lot of crisis work. We didn't really do what we wanted to do, which was rehab, but we had to go into lots of crisis work. There was lots and lots of people with learning difficulties, not going to youth clubs and not going to day centres, so we just did a lot of crisis work, and within the last year we've kind of moved those people on now to long-term placements, and we're back into our rehab work. And we're looking to join up with services, because we haven't yet got houses for people to move in, that we haven't done that part of it yet, but we will at some point. But it was just to talk about our service, really.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, how many workers have you got?
So it all depends on needs. So what we do, we're because I know a bit about commissioning and funding and that, so I was very crafty, and I told social workers that I'm making you pay for 10 hours for everyone. So you can't come to us unless you get 10 hours one-to-one support a week, and that is to help people build on the skills. So what we try and do Monday to Friday, we do lots of learning, we do lots of cooking, and then like on a Friday we have theme nights, and we go out at the weekends. So we're trying to give people that experience of life, of what life is outside of care. Because we get a lot of people who are transitioning from children's services, especially when people have been in hospital for 10, 12 years, so that they've lost all those skills. So then we develop those skills and then move them on. At the moment, we've moved 2 people on. We've got 5 service users. We don't call them service users, we call them individuals. So we've got 5 individuals in the service at the moment, and we've got 2 beds available. But it's about we want to make sure that we help them go to the right place next, because we have a lot of people from supported living who aren't doing very well, so then we want to make sure that the next supported living is going to be more long term for them. But we build relationships, so we don't like things. We're trying to change the ethos and the way we care for people. Like, we don't use the word behaviours. When I'm a psychotherapist by training, it's just so detrimental, and I worked with a lady who was quite a prolific self-harmer, and every time someone talked about her, it was she's having a behaviour, and she heard that and she didn't like it. So we call them expressions of self. So we don't have ABC charts, we have expression of self charts. And we talk about, we try and teach the staff that every expression is because they're trying to get something met.
Yeah, that needs.
Yeah. But we're quite new, and I've been 20 years in healthcare now, but mostly elderly. My last 5 years has been in mental health, and we just want to change the way it is, because it's not very good at the moment, especially in these big care homes. And I'm not, and there will be really good big care homes out there, but I don't know how you expect to build a therapeutic relationship and look after 30 people at the same time, and with all different needs. So the last place I worked at, we would have an 18-year-old with an autism, and then we'd have a 70-year-old with dementia.
No, just no.
It just doesn't work. doesn't work. But unfortunately, a lot of providers, because I'm the registered provider as well for the service and the nominated individual, and a lot of providers fill beds. And that's not what we're about. And I mean, it is a struggle. It is a struggle to make sure we're getting enough money in to support the people, and that's always going to be a bit of a struggle for us. But that's what we took on, and that's what we want to do, because it makes more sense business-wise to keep your beds full. But that's not what our service is.
Yeah.
So it's. Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. What age is it for? Sorry.
So we are registered from 0 to 65. But because we're not Ofsted registered, we can have 16 plus for transit. Yeah, so when we went to CQC and we re-registered for 0 to 18, they kind of had a bit of a heart attack. I was like, what, you're having babies with 18 year old? No, so it's 16 plus. It's usually people who are transitioning out of CAMS units or foster care or things like that. Yeah.
So how can we help you today?
I think it's just about spreading that message of we need a change in mental health and mental health services, and building those relationships and placing people where they can not only get their care needs met, but they can progress.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone is beyond learning something and having a better settled life. And that we want to empower people. It's all about empowerment. I mean, I don't know if you've been to our store. One of our service users is with us today, and she's the one who's showing everyone what we're doing.
Brilliant. That's the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any questions?
When you say rehab,
Yeah.
what kind of rehab are we talking about?
So we do drugs and alcohol, so it can be that, but it's mostly, we call it a rehabilitative service, so it's mostly learning those skills. Where either they've been in hospital for a long time, even people leaving prison, they tend to get all those things done for them. So in hospitals you can't cook your own food, you can't wash your own clothes, and when you've been in there a long time, or even transitioning from foster care into a mental health unit and then to us, they just lose all the skills. So it's about activities of daily living. We do pathways. Everybody heard of the 5 ways to wellbeing?
Yeah.
So we've took on them, and obviously I'm a therapist, so I've rewrote my own therapeutic pathways. So we talk about taking notice and things like that, and we do about self-image, so we can do money matters. I think there's one about healthy eating, and we try and do it in every part of, to link up with activities of daily living,
Yeah.
to try and support them, to take some control back.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, especially if you've been brought up, I mean, I was a brought up child in services. When that happens to you, you don't have any control.
No.
You come out, well, back when I was in care, it was 16, and you're given a Bernardo's grant, and you're told to go and get your flat, spend it, go and get your flat, and then kind of go on to yourself. But I think that's still happening. It's just that they've made it 18 now, where you leave care, and that's the thing. And we just want to hopefully change some things, yeah. And I think today's been really useful for people to join up. I mean, we've had people come to us that we would never thought that we could join up with, and sometimes when social services and when the Commission, when CCG are funding people in healthcare and in residential places, that's all they're allowed.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you've got that money, you're being funded for that much of living. What else do you want us to give you? Where today we've been offered loads of services, and that's something I've never seen before. So it's really nice.
Can I ask what your skill mix is within your staff that work with you, or your therapy background?
So we've got a lot of support workers who have been doing mental health or learning difficulties for a long time. We've got a few people transitioning from elderly care. Our registered manager, she's been working in the healthcare for about 10 years. I think between us, me and the registered manager have got like 30 years experience of working in different sectors. I mean, like I said, I started in elderly dementia, and I've worked across a lot of services. I did work for the NHS for a bit. I found it a little bit too many rules for me, so I kind of went back into private care, where you can sometimes not make your own rules, but you can set your own standards, which is different from working for health.
Do you link in with community services out there, like within the NHS, be it mental health trusts?
Yeah,
community services?
yeah, we try to. The problem is at the moment, because we're we are a mental health residential. Crisis teams don't want to work with us because they kind of say, well, they're in a residential home. What do you want us to do? You've took on that placement, what do you want us to do? But we want a bit of extra support. They want some extra support. They want somebody else to talk to. It is very difficult. The forensic mental health team support you really well. So if you've got some forensic history, then you are supported. You phone a CPN and they come that day. Other mental health teams are just overloaded, I think. It's very difficult to get any support at the moment, which is a shame, but forensic mental health are really good at the moment. And that's me done.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you. I'm going to sit